For a series with a lot of gray area, these are the characters that bring out the darker side. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Game of Thrones villains.
Think you know Game of Thrones? Click below to sign in with your Google or Facebook account and take the new trivia quiz on WatchMojo.com.
For this list, we're taking a look at the characters as they appeared in the popular HBO series, who have demonstrated themselves to be decidedly more antagonist than protagonist. Many of these folks have either done a lot of killing, ordered a lot of death and destruction, or have had their hand in a massive plot twist or two, so consider this your dragon-sized spoiler warning. Number 10. Euron Greyjoy. He is a literal pirate, and just like a pirate, he seems to get a genuine kick out of pillaging, plundering, and generally messing up other people's days. The brother of Balon Greyjoy and uncle to Theon and Yara Greyjoy, you'd think that family ties would be at least one check to balance out some moral and ethical decision-making. But no, this guy takes what he wants, and if that means killing his own brother, then he'll do it. After seizing control of the Salt Throne of the Iron Islands, he joins forces with Cersei Lannister, so you know he's bad news.
There's nothing quite like it, is there? The love of the people.
Number 9. Gregor Clegane. Known to many as the Mountain, this landed knight is infamous for his size, strength, and cruelty. Prior to the events of Game of Thrones, during Robert's rebellion in overthrowing the reigning Targaryen family, Sir Clegane not only brutally murdered a baby, but also sexually assaulted Princess Elia Martell, wife of Rhaegar Targaryen, before murdering her as well. And no fan will forget what happened to Oberyn Martell when he faced off against the Mountain in combat.
Gonna smash their head in like this!
Sadistic and powerful, he was, and still sort of remains in an undead way, a terrifying force to be reckoned with. Number 8. The High Sparrow. Just because you're pious doesn't mean you're a good person.
High Sparrow. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Like Lord Duckling or King Turtle.
This religious zealot takes his faith to the extreme, and when Cersei gives him an inch of power, he takes a mile. With the likes of Septa Unella and the faith militant at his disposal, he's able to rise to heights of power that rival even that of the king and queen mother.
Bearing false witness before the gods is as grave a sin as any, my lady. Take her.
While at first it seems like he might be a real force for good, and there was a certain satisfaction in seeing Cersei brought so low, overall the High Sparrow is the human embodiment of taking it too far.
What will we find when we strip away your finery?
Demanding perfection with no room for error, all his good intentions eventually pave the road to ruin. Number 7. Walder Frey.
I can always see what's going on beneath a dress.
This bannerman of House Tully seemed just like a greasy, cowardly old man most famous for not joining Robert's rebellion until it was clear who the victor would be.
Love. That's what the Starks of Winterfell call it, eh? Very honorable.
With more children than he can care to name properly, and a revolving door of increasingly younger wives, he at least was loyal to his liege lords.
Your king says he betrayed me for love. I say he betrayed me for firm tits and a tight fit.
Despite his many failings and sour feelings over losing out on his chance to marry off one of his daughters to Robb Stark, he helped House Tully, and by extension House Stark, in the War of the Five Kings. But then the Red Wedding happened. In hindsight, given this guy's predictions, one of TV's most brutal moments was sort of inevitable. More like Lord of the Double Crossing, right?
I'll find another.
Number 6. Tywin Lannister. There are villains you love to hate, and then there are villains you hate to love, and Tywin falls under the latter. He's pitiless and calculating, but oh so smart and sensible about his ruthlessness.
I always thought you had a talent for violence. Burn the villages, burn the farms. Let them know what it means to choose the wrong side.
He wouldn't waste time or energy on being petty or cruel. This is a man who has his eyes on the prize, and that prize is to secure and maintain the position of his family as a ruling house and to bring order back to a chaotic world.
I need you to become the man you were always meant to be. Not next year, not tomorrow. Now.
He's neither a protagonist nor an antagonist, although he antagonizes the Starks and their allies at every turn. Rigid self-interest and order is at the heart of everything he does.
You would have your grandson protected by someone who disgusts you.
I would have my grandson protected by a skilled warrior who takes his vows seriously.
Number 5. Petyr Baelish, also known as Littlefinger. When first introduced, it seems like King Robert Baratheon's Master of Coin might be on the side of the heroes.
The sigil of House Tully.
Isn't that your wife's house? Tully, my Lord Hand.
He's scheming and a little sketchy. What with all those brothels? But who in Game of Thrones is 100% above board? However, it soon becomes obvious that this master manipulator is on no side but his own, using whatever means necessary to acquire information on both friends and rivals as a way to pull the strings in whatever direction suits his purposes best.
I did warn you not to trust me.
Not one for loyalty, from betraying Ned Stark to manipulating Sansa to killing Lysa Arryn, he always thought he was smarter than everyone around him. Too bad he didn't count on the loyalty between sisters. Number 4. Joffrey Baratheon. While he's not number 1 on this list, he is certainly winner of Westeros' most punchable face award.
Bring her to his chambers when you're finished and show him what you've done. Well, the same thing will happen to you.
This spoiled little psychopath united all Game of Thrones fans under the banner of F that guy. Cruel, petty, and sadistic, he's everything you don't want in a leader. Even before he decided to chop off Ned Stark's head and launch the country into a massive and needless civil war, this pasty-faced puke was tormenting everyone around him just for kicks, and in general causing distress and havoc wherever he went.
She asked me to, my lord, she asked me to.
I'm your prince, not your lord, and I said, pick up your sword.
The Purple Wedding was just as satisfying to watch as the Red Wedding was horrifying. Number 3. Ramsay Bolton. The character that almost makes you long for the predictable ways of Joffrey Baratheon. The bastard of Bolton is like Joff on steroids.
You don't look like a Euron Greyjoy anymore. That's a name for a lord. But you're not a lord.
Torturing people mentally, physically, and emotionally is considered a good time. Murdering family members because they're in his way is just another typical afternoon. Sexual assault is of course also on his unending list of depravity.
Oh, no. You stay here, Reek. You watch.
He's so bad that he makes his terrible, literally backstabbing father seem honorable. There are villains you love to hate, and then there's Ramsay Bolton, who you just hate.
No, you have to run, remember? Those are the rules.
Number 2. Night King, White Walkers. In Westeros, the White Walkers were almost a forgotten threat, relegated to legend and stories to scare children. However, the once forgotten then distant threat has been gradually building and approaching throughout the show's run, and now, under the leadership of the Night King, they've broken through the wall. Winter, as the Starks always warned, has arrived. While it is known that the Children of the Forest created him, not much else is known about the Night King or his motivation, other than his seeming desire to transform the world of the living to the land of the dead and cover it all in ice. That's pretty evil. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some dishonorable mentions.
You do not command the dragon. I am Lord of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't take orders from savages or their sluts. Do you hear me?
And I see this one staring too long. I might just gouge his eyes out.
You should know, the process may change him. Somewhat.
You kissed him. You kissed Petyr.
I didn't. You don't understand.
I saw you. You can't lie to me because I saw it with my own eyes.
for the Watch.
Number 1. Cersei Lannister. Perhaps the most complicated of the human villains and one of the most interesting, Cersei Lannister can be as cruel as any of them, but has a real capacity to love.
He should be with his grandfather, his brother, his sister. Burn him.
Cunning and bold, her greatest strengths are also her weakness, and are what make her the most dangerous. Her desire to be taken seriously as an intelligent and powerful woman in a man's world also gives her motivations a sort of sympathy and twisted logic. However, the Night King's approach, coupled with her narcissistic refusal to take the threat seriously, could spell doom for everyone. That the fate of Westeros potentially rests with one so unbalanced adds just another level of danger to her character.
This isn't about noble houses. This is about the living and the dead.
And I intend to stay amongst the living. Let the Stark boy and his new queen defend the North. We stay here where we've always been.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.